Oh man, yeah. You know, we are a base defensive team. All right, we have an identity. All right, it's not the Sexiest identity, but that's who we are. We are a base defensive team first, and we like to make sure that we have all five guys on the same page defensively for repetitive, consistent possessions, because if we do that, that has an effect on our attitude and the emotions of our team. And then when we're all on the same page offensively, passing and cutting, posting up, taking quality shots, as you saw in our last game, then we could be a good team. But sometimes the professor has to call the class to better order so that we can maximize our potential. But our guys are playing hard and they don't make excuses. I'm consistently getting feedback, even during the games, from officials that, in the sense that our guys don't complain. They just play. They just play.
How much does that new lineup kind of help mold with your identity?
Yeah, it does. And it's not only the new lineup with Bola being in there, and now we get a chance to move Braxton from 4 to 2, where everybody in the lineup is 6'6", 6'7", and above. Well, Bola, I think Bola may be 6'5", but it gives us more options. And now we have been experimenting for the last month with Jimmy and Dante playing together, and I finally gave it a chance. So that gives us another option. It helps us rebounding. And actually, when we play Jimmy and Dante together, we scored more because those guys are rebounding and setting great screens for us.
What does it say to have two guys like Riley and Braxton that can both play 4 and 2? I mean, that's kind of too.
It gives us more versatility, and I think what we try to do is, in terms of our opponent scouting us, a lot of times they don't know who we're going to start, what lineups we're going to throw out there, because we have so many different combinations through our 8-man rotation, and we finally have an 8-man rotation.
How much did having the two bigs, Jimmy and Dante together, kind of open up the threes for Riley and Braxton? It really seemed like they had a good, smooth transition.
Well, one, because those guys aren't thinking about shooting threes, so it gives us one less three-point shooter on the floor that's thinking about shooting a three. They set great screens. When they get offensive rebounds, they don't mind kicking it out. But more than anything, the interior defense with both of those guys. Now, if Dante's out playing a pick and roll on the floor, we have Jimmy backing him up. If Jimmy's out playing a pick and roll, we have Dante backing him up. And then if we can rebound and get out and run, now you'll start to see us get some threes in transition because of what those guys are doing with our interior defense.
Jimmy said that you guys had been working on this new lineup for a while. When did that kind of start kicking in? When did you guys start?
As I've said in the past, Bob Simons talked to me about that starting last year. Pelfrey came through the door this year when we hired him, and that was his question. Why don't we play Dante and Jimmy together? And I said, great question. That's the question that Coach Simon's been asking for a long time.
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about just this lineup that you ran out in Georgia. When did you start kicking the tires on that lineup? Not Jimmy and Dante together.
Well, Corbin had been starting for us early in the year, and we've started Bola before. Mm-hmm. But we made the decision that we wanted to bring Corbin off the bench. We liked his performance at LSU, and now we thought, because of Maiden inside, we could get Braxton off of Maiden to start the game and get Bola on him, even though Bola picked up 2 quick fouls.
Saw that Corbin wasn't really doing much out there. Is he injured or anything?
Not injured at all. Straight maintenance program. Going into the Georgia game, Charlie, Corbin didn't practice either day.
Gotcha.
So he came out and got some shots up early in practice, but then it's just more about maintenance because of his, the way he's been banged up all year. We got to manage him the rest of the season so we can make sure he's available for games.
Yep. You have an update on his status?
Yeah, lower leg injury. Injured his shin. Monday in practice. He had an MRI on Wednesday. So right now, he'll be out for at least another week. So he's not going to play our game tomorrow or travel with us to Arkansas. Hopefully after another week we'll be able to get him back for practice and evaluate him moving forward. But it is a lower leg injury.
Is there any secret to a team that going on streaks, winning streaks, and instead of just individual games and kind of getting off that win one, lose one snide?
Well, I think it's tough because number one, it's tough winning on the road in our league, and we've been able to win some games on the road. I think the main thing for us, and I can't speak for other teams, is ball security. And you guys are going to hear me say that all year. Whether you're a football quarterback and you're getting passes deflected, that disrupts your offense and knocked down. Or you're throwing interceptions, the same thing in basketball. If we can't make post passes, or if we can't make the extra pass, if we don't know how to execute against a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 or a 4-on-3 or 5-on-4 on the break and deliver the ball on time, on target, or if we don't set up and catch the ball and teams play the passing lanes and get out and get steals on us and score at the other end, or what Florida did, play a little bit of a 1-3-1 zone on us and we don't score, we're not going to be efficient. It puts a lot of pressure on your defense. Look at two of the losses that we've had, or even when Georgia came back in their game. What's the common theme? Ball security. Turning the ball over 4 out of 5 possessions, 3 out of 5 possessions. And when you don't get shots at the basket, it hurts your defense, and it hurts you in terms of your offensive efficiency.
What do you say about this team that come off probably one of the worst games y'all played all year and play one of your best, and both on the road, I respond that way?
A lot of character, and I share it with our team. You know how I started off practice on Monday? Did you hear about this?
Explain this.
All right, well, I started off practice on Monday in our video session by laying on my back on the floor, looking at the ceiling, talking to our team for 15 minutes. So I talked to them about adversity and disappointment and rejection, getting cut on Christmas Eve. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? All right? Or are you going to not practice, not watch the video? Or after the Georgia game, I couldn't get on the ceiling. I wanted to get on the ceiling and talk to them from the ceiling. So one, or you're going to handle disappointment and get back up, or you're going to get on the ceiling and have a Mardi Gras parade and not play the next game. So you got to know how to stay in the middle with both situations. We understand there was a major celebration after we lost that game before Georgia, but we got to continue to fight. And, we're right there. We've gotten off to a pretty good start overall in conference play. So it's about our guys growing into manhood. I didn't feel great on Sunday. I didn't feel good at all. I asked my wife. All right, but I came to work on Monday really early. And so it was a learning lesson for us. And life is not going to always turn out. A day is not going to always turn out the way you want it to. My dad died, a month before my first child was born. What do? All right, you got to keep going. It's not the best situation, right? Okay, we've been dealing with this Coaches versus Cancer campaign. On one hand, cancer brings back bad memories for me. But on the other hand, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to be a part of this Coaches versus Cancer to help us raise money for research so that we can make somebody else's life feel better.
Coach,
Hey.
Coach Allen isn't going to stay the same as he was the first time.
Yeah.
What will you look for from this?
Yeah, with as much experience Cecil as Coach Allen has, we expect them to make some adjustments in terms of some of their coverages on us, in the post, maybe in pick and rolls. We expect maybe a different starting lineup so that they can address maybe some situations that they didn't like. We can expect maybe a little more full court pressure. So, we're trying to prepare for any and everything, because when you have an experienced coach like Coach Allen, maybe they hadn't played zone as much. 99% man-to-man, maybe we'll see some zone. So we just got to be ready and ready to go for whatever, they try to throw out there at us.
Do another one or two things. Excuse me, you brought it up. I wanted to ask you. Obviously, you talked about last week about both your parents passing away from cancer, but Can you provide a little bit of detailed background on kind of how that impacted you? And obviously, you said your father
Right.
passed away first.
Yeah, and my dad passed away first, and that was a combination of cancer and heart disease. So, and then my mom, you know, she developed breast cancer, which spread to her stomach and her brain, and pretty much ate her alive, you know, within a year. And that was right before in '98, right before the lockout was going on with the NBA, and then we ended up having a 50-game season and won the first championship with the Spurs. So, you know, it's difficult, and people go through it every day, and I empathize and sympathize with everybody who goes through it because I've been in their shoes. And that's why I always want to try to give back whenever I hear cancer or heart disease, because we've experienced them both.
Do one more question, guys.
We got to see Daniel Giddens out there, and I know he can't contribute this season, but what does he do just in terms of getting you guys ready?
I really like how Daniel's developing. You know, Daniel was more of a true center coming out of high school, but we think Daniel's going to be a 4 and a 5. He's worked on his outside game. He's worked extensively on his ball handling. So I like the idea of potentially waking up next year and having Daniel and Dante out there together. So he's worked awfully hard. He's, you know, gained some weight. We want him to play at about 245 next year. But Daniel's maturing and he's getting better. And you know, he went to college at 17, so he's still relatively young.
Is that something you require in all your players, to be that versatile? I mean, it seems like a lot of them.
I think versatility is the way to go. And you know, guys like Daniel, when they can, you know, have that versatility to play multiple positions, that, you know, again, that makes us hard to scout, hard to guard. And whether it's on the NBA level or the collegiate level, look around the league. Most of your power forwards can play small forward. Most of your power forwards can play center. Your point guards can play off the ball. I think that's where basketball is going now. Versatility and multi-positional players.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.